Toe my ouers hier kom bly op die plaas op Riverside, toe was ek amper 'n jaar oud. En ek het groot geraak op Riverside. Ek het skool gegaan hier vandaan, alles. Ek het net standaard 6 gegaan, ja.
Vercingetorix are going to win it really comfortably here as they come down to the line by about 5 lengths as they cross it. But Vercingetorix is the leader. Rock Cocktail tries to fight back, but Vercingetorix has got it won.
My ma was Abraham Carelse. Sy het by Duncan se ma in die huis gewerk. En sy het vir Duncan se help groot gemaak en sy susters. En my pa was ook Abraham Carelse. En hy het hier so op die plaas gewerk en hulle albei is hier oorlede. So, ons is baie lank hier so. Hy jare was baie verskil van die jare. Ons het nie baie kans gehad soos nou se kinders om so ver skool te gaan nie. Want ons ouers het nie so baie verdien. En toe ek so 15 was, toe begin werk ek al hier so op Riverside. My pa het gauw siek geraak en doodgegaan en ek het maar aangegaan met werk.
Vercingetorix and Cape Town Noir. Cape Town Noir coming home hard, but Vercingetorix and Cape Town Noir.
Hou nooit op met leer met peren. Almal die peren is nie eners nie. Dan kry jy een wat jy kan agterstaan, dan kry jy weer een wat jy nooit kan agterkom nie. Jy kan nooit aan sy kop vat nie of so iets. Maar jy moet maar altyd leer dat jy daar kan kom. Veral as jy by 'n veiling kom, jy wil nie laat mense sien. Jy kan nie raak, want as mense kom na jou perd kom kyk, wil hulle raak aan hom. En nou spring die perd weg en nou hou hulle nie van die perd nie. So daar is baie dinge wat 'n mens moet kyk.
Vercingetorix hit the front at the 200. While you're all on the outside, no worries running on. Cape Town Noir comes home well. Vercingetorix holding on and won it. Cape Town Noir second, all no worries.
Daar is baie mense wat met pere werk, maar hulle is nie lief vir die werk nie. Hulle werk maar net omdat daar geld is. Maar as jy lief is vir pere, dan sal jy nooit laat daar foute kom nie. Die renpere, resiespere, hulle is baie sag. Hulle is nie so die groot ou pere nie. Hulle is baie sag, jy moet lief wees vir hulle. Ek is baie lief vir pere.
Vercingetorix in front of 4 Jan and Code of Honor. Vercingetorix is tired. He's hanging on. Code of Honor's too late, and the King of the Gauls has won. But it's too late. Vercingetorix in front, and Vercingetorix is too good.
8th of March 2014, when South African thoroughbred racehorse Vercingetorix, unbeaten, won his 6th race from 6 starts on the world stage at Maiden, Dubai. It was a great day for South African racing. It was also cause for celebration for Abraham Carelse and the other 6 members of the Riverside Grooms Co-operative in the Klein Karoo. Named after the gallant King Vercingetorix, who led the Gauls to victory against Julius Caesar at the Battle of Gergovia in 52 BC, and translating from the Latin as the King of Great Warriors, South Africa's Vercingetorix has become the icon of an empowerment initiative designed to turn grooms into owners and sellers of highly bred thoroughbreds in South Africa. The initiative, supported by the Department of Trade and Industry, enables grooms from stud farms to participate in the annual yearling sales across the country as buyers and sellers of valuable thoroughbreds.
I thought it was a great idea. You know, when these people put in the hours and the weeks and years, and you can give them a bonus, you can give them a pat on the back and a thank you, but you can't give them the big things in life. And here was a chance for them to start our own little business on our little stud farm.
Well, I'd been involved for a few years doing the grooms training in the Western Cape, and just happened by chance to run into a gentleman from the Department of Trade and Industry, Donald Mabusela, and he mentioned co-ops, and at that stage I had no idea what a co-op was. And he explained it to me as a next step in the transformation process up from training, as opposed to just training people for the sake of training them.
At Riverside, we thought it was a great idea, and we very much committed towards it. And we think that the best way of rewarding them is to make them part of the game, to help them understand it's not just on how to groom the horse, it's not just on how to walk the horse well. It's all about upliftment. It goes about your behavior at sales. It goes about how you interact with people that you probably wouldn't have had the opportunity to interact with, engaging in dialogue, all these things that will take these guys to a different level. And in the first year, they were battling to find enough weanlings to provide for the Grooms Co-ops. And we gave 10 horses to Adrian to have a look at. And the great story about it is that Vercingetorix was one of those 10.
Ons het nie geweet van die perde wat ons gaan koop nie. Toe kom het eendag so dat Duncan vir ons sê ons moet 'n bietjie gaan kursusse loop, 'n bietjie dinge gaan leer by ander plekke en hulle het ons hier weggevat en ons het gaan leer. Toe sê hulle maar, government het nou vir ons geld gegee. Ons moet nou vir ons perde koop. En toe het ons nou 7 man by mekaar gekom. Ons het nou 'n perd gekoop en ons was baie gelukkig. Ek het maar 'n bietjie geskrik. Ons was baie gelukkig.
For 59-year-old Abraham Carelse, having worked on stud farms in the Western Cape all his life, the opportunity to actually own the horses he cared for had always been an elusive, if not impossible, dream.
He was born here and he went to school in Robertson and he's my head groom at the moment and a chap that I rely on tremendously. Very knowledgeable, learnt a lot from a vet, Tommy Fax, and conscientious.
As ek opstaan, ek doen my gebed en dan gaan ek na die stalle toe en dan gaan ek werk, nou voer ek. En as jy daar kom, dan kyk jy nou na jou pere of almal right is of hulle gisteraand se kos geëet en daai tipe dinge. En dan gaan jy nou maar in die kampe in en gaan voer daar en kyk of daar nie een is wat nog lê of want hy weet dis etenstyd en dan sal hy nou opstaan.
It entails being responsible for all the horses on the farm Monday to Friday, and his responsibilities would be the welfare of every single horse on this farm and to report to me or the local vet if I'm not available if there's a problem. And I'm very fortunate he doesn't miss much. We all miss, but he doesn't miss much. And in a quiet time for horses, other than when it's not foaling or preparation, he will drive a tractor and spray vines for me. He's got a heavy-duty lorry license, will be expected to go to the winery with a load of grapes. If the first lorry has been delayed for any reason, he will jump in and do that. And then much the same in the afternoon, getting ready and feeding all the horses on the farm and seeing that everything's fine before knock-off at 5:30.
Initiating the Grooms Co-op project, 2 years ago the DTI funded the establishment of 10 Grooms cooperatives spread across the country. There are 5 in the Western Cape, where 80% of South Africa's racehorses are bred, 3 in KwaZulu-Natal and 2 in the Eastern Cape. Each collective, comprised of 7 members, was granted 350,000 rand to invest in the purchase of weanlings, 4-month-old thoroughbred horses that have been weaned from their mothers. These babies are then raised on the farms that the grooms work on, and are either sold at the yearling sales or as 2-year-olds. The profits are returned to the co-ops and are used to buy more weanlings.
The Grooms Co-ops only had a certain amount of money to spend. We picked horses that we felt that they would do well out of, that they wouldn't lose on, because it was very important from us that at the first attempt that they were successful.
And one of them was this Silvano colt that is now known as Vercingetorix. And they came to me and they said, which horse would I choose? And I looked at the pedigrees and I said, I know what I'll choose. What do you want? And between the 4 of us, the 3 of them and myself, we all had chosen the Silvano colt.
Abraham Carelse is chairman of the 7-member Riverside Grooms Co-operative. Investing their DTI grant, the co-op bought Vercingetorix as a weanling for 200,000 rand.
He arrived here end of August from John Costa's Claver Flav stud, and he always had the frame. He turned out both front legs. I must also add my farrier John Gatt worked on him. It was his part of the project. He didn't charge the guys, and he slowly but surely brought this horse into a respectable front-legged horse.
Die eerste ding wat ek gekyk het, dit was sy bene gewees, en ek het gesien sy een voet was nie soos ek het wil hê nie. Toe dink ek, maar ons het hier fout gemaak. Maar die man wat ons pere se voete werk, John Gatt, hy het vir my gesê, ek moet nie bekommerd wees daaroor nie. Hy sal het reg kry. Hy het dit vir niet gedoen. Hy het die voet mooi gedraai, ingekom. En toe op 'n stadium het dit gelyk vir my, die perd gaan dood. Ja, die perd gaan dood, en toe het ek vir Duncan gaan sê, maar die perd lyk nie vir my reg nou nie.
We got to a paddock one morning and he was lying at the one end of the paddock. I phoned Adrian 6:30 in the morning. I said, Adrian, is this horse insured? Because I'm not sure he's going to ever get up here. And we got a vet and we checked him, and he'd pulled a muscle somewhere and it was just sore and it was cold, and we box rested him for a very short time, and soon he was back in the bunch and fighting fit.
With Vercingetorix seemingly at death's door, compounded with 2 turned-out front legs, for the members of the Riverside Grooms Co-op, there was little indication that he would grow into the magnificent colt that would a year later command 1.4 million rand at the Bloodstock South Africa yearling sale.
We did not envisage that one of the horses would be a 1.4 million rand horse, to be honest with you. And it's just fantastic that it's happened that way, because DTI have put an enormous amount of effort into this. And from DTI's point of view, they are really, really excited about it. And I honestly think it's because of this 1.4 million rand horse called Vercingetorix, who's taken the world by storm. I mean, there's reporters phoning us from America. So if you look at the whole venture from a long-term point of view, the success of Vercingetorix has certainly put the Grooms Co-ops into the limelight.
By the time Vercingetorix went to the sale, his sister Trinity House had won 4 from 4 races. His half-brother, Never Forever, had also chalked up 2 impressive wins.
Everything in this game is about timing, and the year before Vercingetorix was sold as a yearling, he had 2 brothers and a sister that suddenly started performing extremely well on the racecourse. And of course that timing was absolutely sublime for Vercingetorix going to the yearling sales.
We originally wanted to sell him at Book 1, which is end of January, but we soon decided that Joburg would be better, and that extra 3 months from end of January till the end of April, he just blossomed. And as I say, Trinity House did her bit, and Never Forever did his bit, and it was just a dream come true.
Back at the 2014 Bloodstock South Africa yearling sale to sell their latest colt, Rock of Victory, for Abraham and all those associated with Grooms Co-ops, the memory of the sale of Vercingetorix at the auction in 2011 remains an unforgettable once-in-a-lifetime experience.
The DTI, Donald, and 3 or 4 of his colleagues had come to watch these horses, which were the first sold through the ring from Grooms Co-ops. And I had a chat to them after the first day of the sale. They said, well, it was all right, but no. I said, you better come tomorrow. Tomorrow you'll be seriously happy. And they duly arrived, and I said to Abram, when he cleaning up the blast and putting the stickers on the horse's hips, I said to him, what in your wildest dreams do you think you can get here? And he said, well, I'm hoping for 700,000 or 800,000. Now, I personally have never sold a horse for 700,000 or 800,000, and I thought, well, first one in the ring and you're expecting 700,000-800,000. Well, an hour later it was 1.4 and everyone was dancing around and hugging each other, and it was fantastic. It was fantastic to see the camaraderie amongst the grooms that were involved. They were ecstatic. It was a dream come true.
Ons is brekerig onder mekaar, ons grooms. Ons sê vir mekaar, jy gaan nie vir my klop. Die ander manne, hulle breek toe. Ek sê, okay, julle perd was nou al in, net 'n bietjie meer as 200 gegaan. Ek sê, okay, ek kom bietjie later, my nommer is hoog, ek sê later kom. En toe ek daar kom, toe sien ek, hier staan hulle almal die buitekant, hulle wag nou. Toe hoor hulle nou ook, maar ons klim nou. Ek het ook 'n snaaks gevoel, want dis die eerste keer toe wat ek 'n perd het wat so hoog gaan. Je het lekker op je haren een beetje in de lucht op staan. Ja, maar als ik uitkom en allemaal kijkt voor mij. Hulle wens me geluk en zo. En nou voel ik ook bijna goed. En toen kwam daar van die governmentse mensen ook daar buiten. En hulle groet mij ook daar. En ik weet niet wat moet ik zeggen. Maar ik weet niet, ik was bijna gelukkig. Allemaal wat kom bij mij, dan sê hulle, daar gaat hy. Dus hy wat daar gaan, die Rijkman. Dit was een lekker gevoel geweest. Dit was die hoogtepunt in mijn leven geweest.
Vercingetorix holding on and won it.
He was unbeaten in South Africa. He's won a Group 1 overseas now, and I think his whole career lies ahead of him.
Vercingetorix has won.
The good South African horses have gone overseas and raced very, very successfully. In Vercingetorix's case, he's taken the Grooms Co-ops with him. Wherever he runs overseas, people make mention of the Grooms Co-ops in South Africa. So his success overseas has been massive for us as a country.
At the 2014 Bloodstock South Africa yearling sales, the Riverside Grooms Co-op colt Rock of Victory went for 180,000 rand. The colt was by 7th Rock, out of the Victory Moon mare, Victory Dance, bought by the co-op, reinvesting their returns from the sale of Vercingetorix. In addition, the co-op has bought a share in the stallion, Gimme the Green Light, and Victory Dance is currently in foal to Gimme the Green Light.
They're not losing. They're probably not going to get a 1.4 quickly again, but that mare of theirs, she has to have one that's half as good as Vercingetorix, and they'll be looking at proper money. It has done marvelous things for the rest of my staff, because they're also in line. If they pull their weight and there's another co-op, they will be considered. And the morale is very good on the farm at the moment. And at this present time, I've got 3 guys at Stellenbosch who's gone on a course. And we've got to thank the DTI, we've got to thank Cloverflay for selling them this marvelous colt that is now, I mean, he's a talking horse.
Eerstens wil ek nou sê, van my kant was dit baie goed, want ek kon vir my 'n motorkar koop. En my swaar het vir my bussie gekoop. En wat die ander gedoen het, weet ek nou nie almal nie, want hulle is nie almal by ons nie. En ek het 'n kind wat gestrem is, wat ek baie met dokter toe gaan. En dis waarvoor ek bly is. Wat ek 'n ryding kan hê, want jy gaan enige tyd in die aand met jy hospitaal toe gaan of so.
They're competing on the world stage, never mind South Africa, with a horse that they chose. Unfortunately, they didn't breed it. That would have been the ideal. But they chose that horse. They reared him here on the farm. How many breeders can sit back and say, I had one foal and I'm competing all over the world? I mean, it's marvelous. Absolutely fairy tale.
And as to the next step, the industry's fully behind these programs. We're just in the process of finalising putting it all into a national structure that'll be underneath the Thoroughbred Breeders Association, and hopefully through that structure we can then expand these co-ops, provide coordinated, organised training for the guys and bringing on the next generation as well, so that you don't just have the existing co-ops not stagnating but just chugging along and always looking for the next level in the process.
They need to be mentored, and they need all the assistance that we can give them to make a success of it, because it is a very, very tough game. But I think in the meantime, the education part of it and the upliftment part of it is absolutely vital. And I see a huge difference in attitudes of our grooms. The guys are much more engaging. The guys want to learn, they're hungry to learn. They see huge opportunities for themselves now, and it's not just a case of working day in and day out and getting your 7, 8 or 10% raise every year. It's they're actually working towards something which they feel is going to be of huge benefit towards them. So there's a huge change in their attitude, and I think that's very positive for the future.
Ek het kinders wat ek wil hê, hulle moet nie soos ek wees nie. Hulle moet op hulle eie aangaan, maar ek moet hulle kan help. Maar sonder geld kan jy niks doen nie. So, al wat ek doen, ek probeer hulle nou help. Dat hulle beter is as wat ek is. En ek weet, nie een van hulle sal met perde gaan werk of so nie. Maar, hulle kan daarom uit perde geld uitlewe. So, ek gaan maar net aan.
As he continues to represent the South African thoroughbred breeding industry on the world stage, from humble beginnings, Vercingetorix has shown that he is truly the king of great warriors, and, as man's best friend, has become the trailblazing example of what is possible through the Grooms Co-operative program in South Africa.